What's up, guys? It's time for another Strength Side podcast. I think we're on episode 4. Before we get started, I'm going to share, you're going to see me doing some reading in some of the clips. So, currently on my Kindle, reading, it's called Fear, and it's by Osho. Another book that I've been going through this week, I've had this book for a long time, and I actually reread it all the time, and it's called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and it is phenomenal. It's short, it's easy, and like I said, I'm rereading it probably for like the 10th time, I don't know. Before we get into the podcast, last thing I'm going to say is that I'm actually doing some traveling over the next week, kind of road tripping and doing some camping. So the next episode of the podcast, I think I'm going to do maybe while I'm in the car driving, maybe with Chrissy. Some of you guys know Chrissy. So if you have any questions or a topic that you think would be good for the following podcast, leave that shit below. And if it gets some good thumbs up, or if I like it, then let's jam on it. All right, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Strength Side podcast that you can only find on YouTube, at least for now. And we're going to dive right in today. I got a question on Instagram that is going to be the topic for today's podcast. That question was, hey brother, recently started following your videos and I must say it's a different approach to fitness that I'd love to explore. Where do I start? Is it with rings, flexibility videos? My goal is to lose fat and get fit. Thanks for taking the time to read. Yes, brother, I would like to answer your question today, but as you guys know, I like to get a little philosophical. And yeah, first off, I'm going to answer this question in more of a philosophical sense, and then after that, I'll give you more of a concrete answer that you could kind of put into practice today or tomorrow, but only those two options. So I want to talk about developing a practice and prioritizing that practice. If you're coming from a bodybuilding, powerlifting, or just general going to the gym to work out, then the word practice is probably not really used in your circles too much. But like this is one thing that I really enjoy about yoga. Is when you do yoga, you develop a yoga practice, right? The same thing with meditation. We develop a meditation practice. And I think the word practice is very powerful. You know, what is practice? It's doing something repeatedly for, people will have different intentions for practice, but I think we could all say that we are doing something repeatedly to kind of attain some type of competence in that thing, and maybe to also learn from the process of doing it as well. I think that this is missing a lot from fitness. I think fitness is like, hey, you go to the gym for an hour, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and that's your exercise. But instead, we can ask ourselves, how does our physical practice affect who we are as a person and what we want our life to be like? And I think this is a lot of the power of developing a practice, is you can kind of find the weaknesses in yourself, or kind of the spots that are lacking maybe, and you can start to add these into your practice. And of course, we're talking about a physical practice, but obviously this can be, this can take a holistic approach, and this can become meditation and reflection and learning, and all these good things go into your own personal practice, right? So it empowers you a lot because you get to choose what you want to focus on in your life. And I remember when I started developing more of this mindset, I was like, oh, wow, I can choose to focus more on my mobility. I can choose to do some other activity that I've never done before, just because I want to learn it and I want to have fun and I want to go through this process. This is really, really powerful. It gets you out of the mindset of there's some just things that you need to do because somebody else said that they're good for you to do. And, you can kind of take control and kind of steer the ship there. And I think what is just as important, if not more important, is prioritizing your practice, right? Just not compromising on yourself. The practice becomes something that is very, very important and always gets done, right? There's just no excuses for it. I think when I think a lot of the people that I look up to in the world, the reason that they are where they are is just because they kept doing the thing that they needed to do. They just kept doing what they were doing. All the stopping and starting that we see so much of, it just doesn't allow you to have a good trajectory of growth, right? Now, we're way off topic now, right, of where we were. I'm preaching about not compromising on yourself, but I think that this is the thing that I have found so important in my own growth in all realms of my life, is to finally say, like, this is the most important thing to me, and I'm going to keep going at this thing, and I'm not going to compromise on it. And it seems selfish, but really, because you are taking yourself so seriously, it's actually going to allow you to be better with other people and in the world as well, right? And another thing that falls along with all these things that we're talking about, prioritizing the practice and not compromising on yourself, is to keep the goal the goal. This is a phrase that I heard from a bodybuilder that I've followed for a long time named Alberto Nunez. You can look him up if you want to, but I remember him saying this phrase and speaking to this, keep the goal the goal. And I think for so many of us, we have shiny object syndrome, right? Where you're doing one thing and then all of a sudden something pops up on your YouTube feed or Instagram, or you read a blog post and you're like, oh wow, what this person is doing seems really cool, so I'm actually going to switch and do this. And then we do the next, we do the same thing over and over again. And I'm speaking to this because I definitely have been this person, right? And this phrase has been like really transformative to me in my process of keeping the goal, because when I start to slip and think, maybe there's something else I should be doing, or, maybe I'm not doing enough of this, whatever it is, I just get back and I say, keep the goal the goal. We're gonna go at what we're trying to attain here for a long time until we attain it, right? Because nothing can really be attained in short periods of time. It just doesn't happen in this life. If you want anything, you have to spend a long amount of time, a good amount of time, going after that thing. So I think that's enough philosophical talk for now. What do you guys think? Have I been philosophizing enough for you? I want to answer the question with a little bit more practicality and give you some concrete things that you can do if you kind of have a similar question to this. Where do you start, man? What do you start chipping away at? Well, I think, I'm going to get philosophical again, but a lot of the time you have to ask yourself, what drew you into my YouTube channel, or to people doing similar things to me? Where are you lacking, basically? Because usually that's where you get drawn in, right? If you're really stiff and you find one of my mobility videos, and that might appeal to you because you're lacking there, right? So I think you have to ask yourself, where's the big missing link in my my training. For a lot of dudes that resonate with what I'm doing, a lot of the time it's the mobility stuff and kind of breaking through some of those inflexible joints. And I think everyone finds that some of the bodyweight strength stuff is a lot more challenging than it seems. And maybe all the years pounding weights or doing yoga hasn't quite given you the strength that you could attain or that you're looking for. So first off, my best advice is find what you're lacking the most of and then prioritize that. Now, let's break it down into 3 different things here. We'll say, first, flexibility. If you find that you're pretty darn inflexible in that you're stiff, then start throwing in 3 to 4 flexibility, mobility sessions a week, right? I have plenty of follow-alongs. I have plenty of mobility routines on my channel. Pick something that's appealing to you and do that. Now, for strength, I think that this just completely depends on your level and where you're at, but a good framework to work from would be to do 2 sessions for your lower body and 2 sessions for your upper body a week, and that's strength sessions, right? So once again, you can pick one of my routines that I have on my channel. And then if you're going to do a full body routine, that stays the same, right? You want to hit at least 2 full body routines a week. 3 could be great as well, right? These are just general recommendations. And the last one is, a lot of you guys resonate with wanting to just move your body more, right? Like I just posted 5 primal movements, right? So if that is interesting to you and you want to do some more of these natural type movements, start throwing that into your exercise routine. Start putting that into your programming, right? Another thing that you could do is just pick a new activity. Start going to a martial arts class, try a dance class. There's plenty of things out there that will challenge your body in different ways than just going to the gym and doing the same old thing will. So that's my advices on that. Yo, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. If you enjoyed it and you haven't heard the others, I'm going to link a playlist on the screen right now where you can tune into all the other episodes. I didn't get much training footage this week, so as you guys saw, some of the footage was just me doing my morning routine, a little meditation, making coffee, reading, journaling. That's how about every morning starts for me. Guys, like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to Strength Side, and as always, you will hear my voice again next week.